Ericdoa, most known for his hit songs Greater Than One and Sad For What, has had one of the most inspiring rises to fame, going from the self-proclaimed most down bad artist of all time to a rising star in pop music. From the brink of homelessness to going on tour with the kid Laroi and a collaboration with Valorant, one of the most popular video games in the world. How did he do it? Where is his career heading? And what can we learn from his rise to fame? This is the story of Ericdoa. Growing up in Connecticut, music has always been a big part of Eric's life. Latin pop and reggaeton artists like Prince Royce and Aventura played a big part in his developing love for music. The driving rhythms of Latin pop are very distinguished and have been very influential in Eric's music. Video games have also played a big role in Eric's early life. His favorite video game series, Dead or Alive, is a fighting game similar to Street Fighter. The DOA part of his artist name is a direct reference to this game. His original artist name, Kill Eric, is also a reference to this game. However, he changed it to Ericdoa because he thought Kill Eric was too basic. When he was 14, Eric installed FL Studio on his laptop and started learning about music production. He would also use a $9 USB mic meant for the game Guitar Hero to record his own vocals. For many artists, SoundCloud serves as an archive that shows their progression over time. The oldest songs on Eric's SoundCloud is called Alright, and it dates back to 2018. I'm 100% positive this wasn't his first song. However, any songs older than that have escaped the internet without being resurfaced. His early work is very inspired by Juice WRLD and Internet Money. While these songs, at least the first couple, aren't particularly good or interesting, it shows a clear progression of his skills as an artist developing. From song to song, you can hear his songwriting, mixing, and vocal confidence improve. He would drop 24 songs before the release of his first EP, Public Target. While those 24 songs were pretty hit or miss, this wouldn't be the case on Public Target. This EP featured 9 tracks, all of which were a clear step up from his previous work. This EP would be the start of a lot of his creative relationships, showcasing beats from Glacier and many more who would become frequent collaborators on his later work. In the following months, Eric would experiment with multiple different sounds, becoming much more comfortable as an artist. From emo rap to pop punk, it seems that he was more focused on having fun and trying new things rather than being hyper-focused on blowing up. One of the most important parts of developing as an artist is trial and error, and being fearless to try new genres definitely played a part in how his sound would eventually develop. During quarantine, the underground scene was very close-knit. At the time, everybody was working with everybody, and this would be his gateway into hyperpop. While I doubt Eric would consider himself a hyperpop artist, he was definitely a beacon in the community alongside artists like Osquin and Black Winter Wells. Discord became a community hub for the underground, and is where he would meet his frequent collaborators, Zetra, Glacier, and Glaive. As the SoundCloud hyperpop scene developed, Eric's shift in sound would reflect it. Songs like She Asked What My Life Is Like and On To You hinted at a much more experimental shift in sound leading into his next EP, COA. This EP hardly needs an introduction. COA is a beacon in the underground hyperpop scene. The abrasive drum grooves and 808s were complemented perfectly by Eric's catchy songwriting and digital post-processing. I think this EP is best represented by the song Things You Do To Me. With a feature from underground legend Brakence and maximalist production from Fortune Swan, this combination serves as a perfect storm. After signing with Interscope Records and a collaboration with Overcast, Eric would start to reach a mainstream audience. As the underground hyperpop scene got more exposure, Glaive and Eric would be seen as the frontrunners of the new sound. Hyperpop can be very abrasive to the normal music listener, but Eric's more pop-adjacent sound became a gateway for new fans of hyperpop into more experimental music. In 2021, he would team up with Glaive on a collab tape titled Then I'll Be Happy, with co-production from EDM artist Weathen. This EP became a landmark for the underground hyperpop scene. This unlikely duo of 2 kids from the middle of nowhere who met on the internet during a worldwide pandemic was suddenly at the forefront of the underground alongside artists like Midwxst and Slump 6. As COVID restrictions started to dwindle, live music was suddenly possible again. Eric had the unique perspective of building an audience before doing a single live performance, but that was about to change. On August 22nd, 2021, he would perform at Summer Smash hosted by Lyrical Lemonade in Chicago. To my knowledge, this was his first live performance ever. Not to mention it was such a major festival. Performing is something that takes practice to get good at, and even though he was just walking back and forth the whole set, having such a major opportunity would open the door for many more shows in the future. Soon after, he would start his American tour with Glaive. This tour helped them both get more comfortable on stage, as the fanbase they built online was materializing right in front of their eyes. Eric would end off the year by releasing Strangers, Back and Forth, and Fantasize, the leading singles off of his debut album, Things with Wings. These songs gave us a taste of where Eric's sound was heading. Going from glitched out hyperpop beats to timeless pop production, it was clear that Eric was heading in a more mainstream direction, and the results would reflect that. Fantasize was an instant hit on Spotify, earning over 28 million streams at the time of this recording. However, this was just the start of the mainstream Ericdoa agenda. At the start of 2022, he would earn a spot on the soundtrack of Euphoria Season 2, one of the biggest TV shows of that year. Even though the song was only used briefly in one of the house party scenes, Sad for What would soon become one of Eric's biggest songs. 2022 was a big year for Eric. On January 14th, he would perform abroad for the first time in London. In spring, he would release his debut album, Things with Wings, as well as announcing his first North American headline tour. Things with Wings is a 15-song concept album touching on themes like being stuck and what it feels like to break free. This album personifies how it feels going from rock bottom to soaring heights, and to many, including Danny Adams from Lyrical Lemonade, this album is a masterpiece. However, his year would not end there. On July 28th, he would perform at Lollapalooza in Chicago. In August, the Kid Laroi would announce his North American tour featuring Ericdoa as the opener. This tour would expose his music to millions of new fans as he performed in sold-out venues across the country. Finally, in 2023, the song Greater Than One was released. This song was a collaboration between Valorant and Ericdoa, hyping up the release for a new Valorant agent. Riot Games have played a massive role in the music industry in the past, and this song was no exception. With over 9 million streams in the first month, this song is on track to be his biggest release to date. As 2023 passes by, Eric has made it a priority to get in touch with his community. Every Friday, he streams on Twitch, showcasing new music, raging on Valorant, and chatting with his fans. There's definitely a lot to learn from Eric's rise to fame. In the past 4 years, he went from recording on a Guitar Hero mic to performing sold-out venues with one of the biggest artists in the world. He shows that no matter where you come from, you can spread your wings and overcome the adversities that face you. Going from Sad Rabbit to Justin Bieber's Barber, this is the story of Ericdoa.